Bro, we love POE too. Please, Druid. Please give me Druid. Please give me Druid.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers from Grinding Gear Games, and welcome to GGG Live. Today we're going to show you an exclusive reveal of what's coming next for Path of
Is there drops
Exile 2.
in POE right now?
Twitch drops are enabled on today's live stream,
Yep, never mind.
so you'll be able to claim your Sun Priest's Incineration rare finisher effect by following the instructions below. Now with that out of the way, let's get started. It's time to give you a teaser of what's coming in Path of Exile 2, the Third Edict.
What do you say about it right now?
I have called you here to save our people.
Oh, it's the Druid! It's the Druid!
Over the ages.
Wait, what are they getting? Whoa, what are they getting? I've seen her doing that in the bedroom last night.
And we became mighty. Now, outsiders dishonor our shores, and we have stood by, doing nothing. Hear my voice, ancestors! Show us your strength! Show us the true way! I understand.
Oh, hammer. We play him with the hammer every time. We play him with the hammer every time. Doesn't matter. What the? Oh, that guy, that's nasty.
The true Makura Makoi will rise.
Act 4, boys! 3 interlude acts. All right, new story. Lineage supports 25 new endgame maps. 150. What? I didn't even read. New trade system. Whoa, what do we do with the trade system? Please, Druid. 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 You gotta hand it to him. That intro was pretty sick. Now it's pretty good. On August 29th.
Now, as you can see, there's a lot going on, and we have a lot to reveal today.
I should have worn my POE shirt. It's dirty though.
The next chapter in the Path of Exile 2 storyline. But that's not all. There's also 3 new interlude acts to get you to endgame, which means we're removing cruel difficulty too. After that, we'll be going through the massive changes to characters. I'm super excited to show you how I've overhauled the entire support gem system, added new skills, and yes, there are buffs.
I always said I overhauled.
Next, we'll go over the rise of the Abyssal, this season's exclusive league mechanic, and talk about the new rewards, crafting systems, areas, and bosses that it adds. After that, it's on to changes we're making to the endgame. Then it's time to talk about items, crafting, and oh yeah, trade. That's going to be a big one.
Oh boy.
We'll then go over our new supporter packs
trade?
and finish up with a live Q&A session where Ziggy D will ask Path of Exile 2's game directors, myself and Mark, your questions from Twitch chat. And after that, at 4 p.m. Pacific,
quality of
patch
life
notes.
buff.
They're not quite complete, but they should give you some nice details
Also,
to chew on.
Scammers.
We've got a lot to cover today, but first, another announcement. When the Third Edict launches on the 29th, we'll be having a free weekend for Path of Exile 2.
Yo!
That's right, Path of Exile 2 will be free for the first time without requiring an early access key.
Boys,
The free weekend will end on September the 1st, so you'll have plenty of time to give the game a try.
I spent $500 for what you guys are going to play for free.
Let's get started with Act 4.
I'm just being honest.
The story continues from the end of Act 3.
Use my link.
Doryani has agreed to help you find an ancient weapon that can be used against corruption, the instrument of the Third Edict. The weapon was broken in ages past, but he believes that the pieces may be found in the Karui archipelago, the home of the Karui tribes. You will need to journey to Kingsmarch, hire a ship, and set sail. When you open the map, you can choose to sail anywhere you like. Act 4 is completely non-linear, and you can visit the islands in any order you choose.
Okay.
Will you visit the pristine beaches of Whakapanu Island?
What?
The Karui whisper a curse that afflicts all who travel there. Perhaps it's related to the weapon you seek. Or maybe you will visit the volcanic shores of the Isle of Kin. The Kin have been more restless recently, mining for sulfite and driven by some dark force. Perhaps you will choose to consult with one of the local Karui tribes.
Is there a fucking Dark Knight Island?
Their ancient wisdom could hold clues to finding the Third Edict.
That might be a guy.
No matter where you choose to go, you will fight dangerous beasts, find fabulous treasures.
Oh, that was cool.
And battle incredible bosses.
A challenger!
More monkey.
Come, you must seize your soul!
More monkey.
There are 8 islands to discover, each teeming with its own flora and fauna.
Yeah, I played a lot of POE
Act
too.
4 contains over 100 new monster types, 16 new areas,
All the way
12
through
new
the
bosses,
first 6 acts.
and plenty of other
Bought the $500
interesting
pack and everything.
encounters.
Wait, are her
There's a
tits
huge amount to
hanging?
show.
Did you see her
We're not going to spoil too much
titties?
here. We want to give you a chance to discover
That's
it
the
all for
fucking
yourself.
mermaid island.
But what happens after Act 4? Well, until now, you had to repeat the entire campaign again before you could face the endgame.
Yep.
But after adding Act 4,
Which I did.
the game is far too long to make you do that. We needed something else to do in between the end of Act 4 and the endgame. So what else could we do? Add 3 new mini-acts, of course, and we're calling them the Interludes. The Interludes are a set of 3 temporary side stories that will be included in the game until Act 5 is released. It will take you to level 65 where the endgame can begin. The first interlude sends you on a journey back to
story,
Ogham.
honestly. It's better than the
Renly has been
endgame.
leading the efforts to rebuild Ogham Village after the defeat of Count Geonor. But there's a new danger afoot. The nearby town of Holton is surrounded by an impenetrable darkness, and each night their corrupted townfolk emerge to raid the local farmlands. You will discover new areas and new bosses. You'll need to find your way through the darkness, uncover the source of corruption,
Soon you will serve our master.
Bald.
and defeat it.
Bald.
I shall dance with their corpse.
And that's just the first interlude. The second interlude will have you return to the Vasteri Desert, where Asala has been given a sacred duty. When the skies align, the gifting of water requires a chosen Sekima to
she's
meet
hot.
with the
I'm in.
Selkari,
Right swipe,
guardians
right
of the
swipe,
sacred
right swipe.
water. But they're nowhere to be found. You will need to track down the Selkari, find those responsible for disrupting the gifting, fight even more new bosses, discover the secrets of the ancient ritual,
Oh my god, what the?
discover new locations, and ultimately help Asala carry out her sacred duty.
What the?
Now for Interlude 3. As Royal Thaumaturge of the Vaal, Doyani had plans within plans to save his people from the cataclysm perpetuated by Atzeri's lust for power. One such plan involved sealing a group of willing Vaal deep in a great mountain vault near the home of the Asmeri, deep enough to survive the cataclysm. Even though thousands of years have passed, he believes that their descendants may still live, and may be key to defeating the beast.
Oh boy.
The journey up the mountain will be dangerous. New foes stand in your way. And the further up the mountain you venture, the colder it will become. Explore caves of ice and enter the vault itself. Who can say what you will find within? The interludes are 6 to 7 areas each and generally include 4 boss fights as well. When you put that together with Act 4, that adds up to 35 new areas in the campaign and 24 new bosses.
Holy shit.
It's worth making clear that the interludes are temporary. When Act 5 and 6 are added, the interludes will be going away. These
Alright, so do them while they're
after
here.
all. But don't worry, the bosses and areas that make up the interlude are all part of the endgame. We're not just going to throw them away. And with that, we don't need cruel difficulty anymore. We do know that it was a pretty big chore to have to play through the campaign multiple times on each character, and this was a huge reason that the campaign could feel like a bit of a slog when playing through again. But we do also have another new feature to address that particular concern as well.
I don't know, Aspen brought up a
So
new
let's
clothing
talk
line.
about
Fuck you, I have a
sprinting.
POE shirt. It's dirty
In
right now.
030, when you hold
Because
down
it
the
gets
dodge roll
worn.
button, your character will go into a sprint after they finish the roll. This is available on all character classes, and there's no limitation on how long you can sprint for. The primary purpose of this feature is to make navigating areas faster when out of combat. Because of that, if you do take a hit while sprinting, you'll fall to the ground. The best idea is to use a skill when you see monsters. That'll break you out of the sprint so you can engage with no danger.
Interesting.
If you do need to run
Sprinting's
away from
good quality of
monsters,
life.
just hold spacebar. You won't be vulnerable during the roll, and you're faster while sprinting than basically any monster in the game, allowing you to retreat from combat.
That's good.
Sprint is a pretty significant change to PoE 2's gameplay. But what I like most about it is that we can accelerate the pace of the game for those who want that, without having to compromise on PoE 2's more visceral combat systems. Okay, so that's the new extensions to the campaign, but there's a whole giant league to play through as well. I'll leave that to Mark to talk about later, and that's because what I want to talk about now is the new stuff for your characters, and probably one of the biggest new systems here is with the support gems. Now, support gems are one of the most interesting elements to creating a build. They're what enables so many interesting mechanics and different ways to play.
They're complicated.
The PoE 2's support gem system has just never been quite right.
Yes.
One of the major issues is the limitation of only having one support gem of each type on your character. We didn't want builds to just become using the same 5 most powerful supports in every skill. The problem with this design, though, is that it's actually working against using multiple skills in your build. If you can only use each support gem on one skill, it means that you're encouraged to go all in on that one ability. And we want to encourage you to combo your abilities, something needed to change. So with that in mind, we've removed the restriction of having one of each support gem per character. You can now use as many copies as you like.
That's really good.
This
Also
should
encourages
drastically
you to
increase
grind
the
out
amount
more
of possible
copies.
builds and
That's really
increase the
good.
amount of skill diversity. There are a lot of potential builds that suffered from the previous restriction. For example, a poison build previously couldn't add poison to more than one skill. They couldn't use stacking poison on more than one skill either. This severely limited your ability to combo with anything outside of the specifically designed poison archetype, but now you can. Many utility skills previously couldn't scale to endgame because the supports that would make them scale were more useful to use on other skills.
Yep.
You would never speed up killing Palm with martial tempo when you would much rather use it on your primary skill instead. There are more examples like this all over the place. In addition to that, though, we thought there wasn't enough feeling of progression in the supports as you went through the game. There were
That was
only
also
3 tiers
true.
of supports, and many of the most important ones were given out at tier 1. Also, there were no strict
5
upgrades,
tiers.
meaning that upgrading supports when you ran out of sockets required quite a lot of thinking. In order to solve these issues, we now also have multiple levels of many supports as you go through the game. For example, double barrel support gives you an extra bolt, but at the cost of 30% less reload speed. At tier 2, the penalty gets lowered to 20%. But then at tier 3, the support gem gets something new. It now reloads automatically when you heavy stun an enemy. In some cases, the highest tiers might work a little differently, and you'll have to decide if you like the upgrade or not, depending on your build. For example, rapid casting. The first couple of levels gives 15, then 20% increased cast speed. But then at tier 3, it changes to a new approach. For each different spell you cast in the last 8 seconds, you get 10% increased cast speed, which could be a pretty big bonus if you use a lot of different spells. So that's pretty good for upgrades through the campaign, but we wanted to add a little more spice to the endgame for supports too. And that's where our new system, lineage supports, comes in. You can think of these like unique items, but for supports. There are supports that are only available at endgame, but they're much more powerful. Like Ratha's Assault. It's an upgraded version of Double Barrel that reloads your skill as you dodge roll, as well as increasing the number of bolts it can hold. But it does mean that it's the only way you can reload the skill now. Now, unlike regular supports, you can't find these through the uncut support gem. Just like
Holy
unique
shit.
items, many of these can be found from specific bosses.
Supported skills
And there's a ton of the
echoed
regular drop pool
twice.
too.
Supported skills, spells increase.
Some of them are
oh
fairly
my God.
rare,
Any skills has
others
levels.
fairly common.
More crossbow skills, granting a chance to load a bolt.
Some of them are build defining,
Damn it, they're going through too fast. I can't read that fast.
others
I'm
are just straight
American.
up power upgrades. All in all, there's around 40 lineage supports being added throughout the endgame, so there's a lot of power to find out there. Now, the new support gems are certainly going to open up a lot of builds, but of course we have a huge range of improvements to individual character classes as well. As well as adding new skills, we had a big focus on buffing existing skills so that they can scale well into the endgame. There's a huge amount to cover here, so we're not going to discuss everything. We're just going to quick fire through some of the coolest changes.
Okay.
We wanted to make cold a more useful element on the Ranger, so we've expanded the cold tools available. As well as increasing its range, Escape Shot now creates fragments of ice whenever it hits the ground. These fragments explode after a short time, making the skill better for killing groups of enemies. But not only that, we added an ice fragment support that creates more of them when killing frozen enemies.
You'd
And
think
a
it
new
was
buff skill
Onlade,
called
but
Ice
it's
Tip
not
Arrows
since
that
POE
allows
Onlade
all your
has
arrows
hair.
to create ice
True.
fragments. This already gives clear to rangers wanting to use ice, but to take further advantage of the ice fragments, Freezing Salvo has been upgraded to shoot additional cold arrows towards every fragment, giving you a nuke-like ability. We've also modified Snipe to consume frozen from enemies, dealing a huge amount more damage, giving you a nice ice single target option. And something you might notice about this is that the bonus is a lot higher against bosses. This is actually a change you'll see throughout the entire game.
Oh my
Since it's a lot
god.
harder to freeze a boss, you should get a bigger reward for it. Another theme you'll see throughout the game is making movement feel better. Toxic Growth is a skill that was pretty cool, but a bit annoying to use with the jump that it had. Now Toxic Growth is a range
I hate
skill, so you can
poison.
spam it more easily. And we've also added a new poison skill while we were at it, called Toxic Domain. It creates a small area around you that makes all your attacks create toxic growth pustules, but attached to
Oh.
monsters. Another skill that was
Interesting.
annoying to use was Electrocuting Arrow. It's now just a regular arrow, making it easier to
Bro,
use.
both skills are getting huge,
But it
bro.
also means you can support it with projectile supports. And it now also has area of effect, making it a tool
Screw
for more
Druid,
than
add
just single
Assassin.
target.
No, we want
and allowing
Druid.
it to scale into the
Fuck
endgame.
Assassin. We want Druid.
We also added a new spirit reservation called Mirage Archer. This is a meta skill that allows
I'm
you to
not
create shadowy
crazy.
clones
They
of
did
yourself. to
like
use the
show
skill
a
of your
new
choice.
class at the start, right? They just haven't talked about it yet. I'm not crazy.
Of course, one of the other big problems the Ranger had was survivability. Evasion was the weakest of the three defenses, and we wanted to change that. Currently, evasion doesn't evade all types of hits in the game, so you're still vulnerable to things like slams or unblockable attacks. To make evasion characters more tanky, we're adding a new mechanic called Deflect.
This guy doesn't do shit for damage.
Unlike evasion, Deflect works on everything, and if you successfully deflect a hit, you take 40% less damage.
Oh,
Items can now give you a mod that gives you some amount of deflection based on your evasion. And there's a bunch of it available on the
evasion
passive tree
buffs,
too.
boys.
Deflection is rolled in addition to evasion, so this is an
Oh,
upgrade for
boy.
regular hits too. And unlike evasion, there's no maximum chance. You can reach 100% deflect against all hits if you spec into it enough.
Oh
Of course,
my god.
this is a buff that helps
So you
all
just-
dex characters, so the mercenary and the monk,
I
but
was gonna
especially the
say-
huntress, are seeing big defense boosts from this as well.
Yeah, so you're doing that
Speaking
in
of
every
defensive
build.
mechanics, let's
on
talk about
Huntress.
block and parry. Now, one of the big concerns on the release of the Huntress was parry feeling unreliable. One of the big reasons for this is there's a lot of hits that are not blockable, and thus not parryable either. So a huge balance change we're making is that now everything is blockable, except for specifically unblockable red flash skills that bosses use. This makes parry much more reliable. And not only that, but to make block and parry nicer to use, you now also move faster than before while using these abilities. This is a massive buff to passive block as well. So to counter that, we did have to lower the max passive block a bit, but overall you should feel much safer.
Is POE 2 evasion
Fire
as
skills
well
on
like
the warrior
BDO?
were not really
It's
cutting
just
the
like
mustard.
BDO
So we
now.
decided we needed to upgrade a bunch of them, but also
It
add
was
some more
shitty
as
before,
well.
now it's
Let's
very
start with
much
a
so
buff.
like videos.
Volcanic fish are now branches into multiple fishes, giving it much more clearing potential. We've also added a new skill called Forge Hammer. This skill throws a molten hammer that does a slam at a distance.
Thor!
You can recall the hammer back by using the skill again if you like, but the cooler thing to do is to use a war cry near it. Using a war cry makes the hammer explode, making a bunch of volcanic fishes around. Volcanic fishes re-trigger when you slam them, so it's a great skill to make
That's
a flaming
sick.
arena to fight a boss. We
a
also
lot of
buffed
damage.
Perfect Strike to have much larger area of effect, and changed Molten Blast to not always force you to move forward. Trust me, it feels a lot better to use now. The skill now has massively boosted chance to ignite monsters as well. And you're going to want to ignite monsters due to a new glory skill called Ancestral Cry. Ancestral Cry charges up with glory by igniting monsters, invoking King Kalm's favor. After you do, use it to channel Calm's ancestral power. Every attack will be ancestrally boosted with fire. Your very steps will explode.
The fire
triggering volcanic
skills go
fissures,
way over
and
the
molten
top, bro.
balls will erupt
Eventually,
from your
you're just
attacks.
searing your retinas. Like,
Warrior shield skills were another
after
area we
doing
wanted
that
to
for like
improve.
10 hours, you're like,
Now
oh my
we've got
god.
Sprint. We actually don't need to have a cooldown on shield charge anymore. And now also does more damage the further away you are when you use it. Shield wall got significantly upgraded AoE.
Oh shit.
Also, you can shield charge right through it to trigger all the walls. We also added a new shield war cry.
Heal yourself!
Fortifying Cry gives you a defensive buff, but it also builds up charge on your shield that empowers your other shield skills. And Magma Barrier now doesn't require timing in order to use. Just wait for your shield to charge up and block. Seismic Cry now stuns enemies that are primed for stun. And we changed the Sunder interaction with Armor Break. It now also gives a Sundered Armor debuff that makes enemies take 40% extra physical damage.
Oh
Great for
my
bosses.
god.
Ancestral Warrior Totem has undergone some pretty significant changes too. We wanted the skill to feel more like using an ultimate. That summoning an ancestor to fight for you was a big deal. So we've changed this totem to require 3 endurance charges to summon, and massively buffed its damage. It also now scales your weapon damage too. Since there's no limit anymore, if you build around
damage
generating
is
endurance
nuts,
charges,
bro.
you can summon an entire forest of totems. In order to make that easier, we added some new sources of endurance charges. There's now a support to make Perfect Strike generate charges, and a support for generating endurance charges from heavy stuns as well.
Sure.
Speaking of totems, we wanted to upgrade the Warbringer. Among the other changes we've made to this class, Answered Call now gives an extra totem, and the spirits have just been generally buffed in many ways.
Please
Use it with your limitless
upgrade
ancestral
demon
warrior
lady.
forest to make an army of Karui that would make
Please
Tugahama
upgrade
proud.
my demon mummy.
We've also merged the Great Wolf Howl and
She's
Warcaller's
terrible, I
Bellow
promise.
support, so that you can get all the benefits with 1 point. And Encased in Jade no longer removes the Jade when getting hit, making it a much better defense. Next up, let's talk about accuracy. Accuracy was always intended to be something that warriors didn't need to care about very much so long as they're in close combat. But unfortunately, that's not currently the case. This was particularly annoying with skills like Bone Shatter, which you certainly don't want to mess with. So we significantly buffed your chance to hit at close ranges
Rip
when you
dead
don't have
bat.
much accuracy. Warriors shouldn't require any accuracy investment in order to hit with close range attacks now. We also wanted to improve armor. Now, one of the major weaknesses of armor is the inability to defend against elemental damage. In order to mitigate this, we're adding a lot more of the stat that allows your armor to defend against elemental damage. It's now available on items and in a lot more places on the passive tree.
That's good. That's a W.
One of the most important improvements we've made in 030 is to declunk the action and flow of shooting crossbows. You can now reload crossbows without any movement penalty. But not only that, all skills that can be used while moving now slow you for a shorter amount of time. This change benefits everyone, not just
Yeah, I was
crossbow
gonna say
skills. With both of these changes put together, the run and gun playstyle feels much better.
Okay, that's good.
It's hard to explain how important this change is for the feel
Listen
of
to
the
every
class.
single thing we complained about
The
this.
Mercenary is also
What
a good
great
chance
company.
to talk about how we're
If
rebalancing to make
Pearl
comboing skills
listened,
much better.
Like the
Take
Path of
Shock, for
Exile
example.
devs do,
It buffs damage
Did-
in lasts 4 seconds right
we
now.
would never play another game
But that
again.
isn't really giving you enough time to take advantage of it. If you're going to add a lightning skill into a build that otherwise wouldn't use one, we need to make mechanics like this much better. So we've increased shock duration on monsters to last 8 seconds. And skills like Plasma Blast, which are intended to be good at shocking enemies, now increase the damage bonus by a lot more. You'll find changes like this all around the game. Chill now lasts 8 seconds, giving you more of a reason to weave in cold damage. Freezing skills are better at freezing. Burning skills need to cause burns that last longer. But making skills like Permafrost Bolts and Incendiary Shot double down on how they're supposed to be used, it makes using them in your build alongside other skills much more likely. We're also making sure to buff specific combos too. The freeze explosions from frag rounds now chain to nearby enemies. And using high velocity rounds with armor break will now fragment the opponent's armor. This causes monsters to take a portion of
Oh
high velocity
my
rounds damage with
God!
every subsequent hit, even tiny pellets. So that means following it with a shotgun blast is way more effective.
what is that damage, bro?
Now there's a lot more buffs to crossbow skills, but for now I'm just going to talk about the new one we added, the Mortar Cannon. This
Bro,
one lets you socket any
The
grenade
whole,
skill and use
the
it
whole live stream is just, yo, here's what we're doing
the
about
grenade you
crossbows.
choose.
Everything else is irrelevant. Also some warrior stuff.
Another issue on the Mercenary were banners. They were just not very good, so we're doing a big upgrade to them. They now last longer, don't disappear when moving out of them, and we removed the Valor mechanic. They now just give a much more consistent and stronger buff, and you can use them when you get enough glory. On which, one of the main focuses was making various minion types more useful to use together.
Yeah?
Melee minions in particular were just not that great compared to ranged ones.
True.
As a starting point, we just straight up removed the requirement for minions to have accuracy. Attack minions now always hit, which makes them way better.
Okay, well, all right.
Fruit's got some good
Minions
numeric
are
buffs,
back,
but we
boys.
also added a new command skill where they do a war cry that intimidates enemies and detonates any frozen monsters and allies around you in a big cold explosion. We've also changed the Frost Mage's command skill to an ability that adds ice armor to your other minions, adding a layer of defense. And it makes them deal cold damage back to the attacker as well. The ice armor also makes the minion count as frozen, so the Brute's war cry can detonate them too.
I love the witch, bro.
Unearth was changed to work on corpses of your dead skeletons, allowing you to summon the minions more easily in boss fights.
Oh, nice.
And they also got a new jump ability, allowing them to get into
Big.
combat faster. Ray's Spectre was also feeling pretty weak for the spirit cost they have.
Yep.
To be honest, we were a little afraid of these when we first balanced them. We've both decreased the spirit cost for a large range of monsters, and have significantly increased Spectre damage too. They should feel a lot more impactful. There's also a lot of new spellcaster weapons with newer cult skills. But I'll just talk about one of them that I thought was particularly cool. The Reaping Staff is actually a wicked scythe that gives you a new ability called Reap. When an enemy is low in life, you can dash forward and rake enemies with the scythe to cull them instantly, healing you. It can also inflict critical weakness on enemies too. Now, there's a lot of balance changes in the Witch's Ascendancy classes, but I'll just talk about two of them for now. On the Blood Mage, you were previously required to spend your first points on Sangomancy, which really was supposed to be the downside for being able to access the powerful abilities on the rest of the class.
Yeah, but then you
In
just
order to make
didn't
picking
get
the
to
Blood
use your
Mage a
class.
better early option, we've made Sangomancy free, unlocking the power of the rest of the class immediately.
That's better. That's better. Okay.
On the Infernalist, the Demon form wasn't something people were really using because you lost your weapon stats while transformed. Well, you no longer do, so it's a much better option now.
I'm going big!
On the Monk, the Wind
My
skills needed
build's
a big
gonna be
upgrade for
crazy!
sure. Staggering Palm can now stack up its duration if you use the skill multiple times in a row, so you can keep the effect of all your skills throwing up wind much more easily.
My build's
Wind
gonna
Blast
be
had the purpose
crazy.
of building up to dazing an enemy, but dazing just wasn't worth all that effort. Now it just dazes on hit, meaning a single Wind Blast will make all your skills stun enemies more easily. Following up with Vaulting Impact on a dazed enemy previously did a bunch of stun. Now it allows you to break your enemy's stance. When their stance is broken, following up with a fast attack will do way more damage. A cool build that certain people always enjoyed in POE 1 was hand-to-hand combat, but until now we just didn't have a real way to make it viable. Well, that changes now. The Monk, as a true martial artist, now has the ability to learn the Hollow Palm technique, a keystone that lets you use all quarterstaff skills while unarmed. All quarterstaff attacks now have a special unarmed version, and you get further bonuses to all your attacks from stacking Energy Shield and Evasion on your character.
Bruh.
A new keystone we also added to the Monk section of the tree is Walker of the Wilds. This changes Mana Leech to work with elemental damage instead of physical,
Notes up huge!
which is pretty useful for all those elemental attacks the Monk has, but it works well for the Ranger too. Now, one of the least used Ascendancy classes in the game is the Acolyte of Chayula, so we knew we needed to make some changes here. One of the key things we had to do was make the chaos damage that the Acolyte can do much more useful. So we've added a new skill, allowing chaos damage to ignite, shock, chill, and freeze, embracing the elemental prowess of the Monk in a truly chaotic fashion.
What the?
In addition, he can make all of his chaos damage leech. And we've buffed Into the Breach and Embrace the Darkness by moving the effects of the 4-point nodes into the base skills. He also gains a new notable, Grasp of the Void, which leaves void illusions behind you as you dodge roll. If they're killed, they do massive explosions of darkness, dealing damage to everything in sight.
What the?
Now let's talk about Sorceress
That's OP
skills.
against bosses.
One of the things we wanted to improve on the Sorc is the ability to use multiple elements together more effectively.
Yeah?
Now, this might seem small, but one of the things pushing you towards using a single element is debuffs like elemental curses, which lower resistances of a single element. In order to fix that, we're making quite a lot of game-wide changes to these kinds of mechanics to broaden what they apply to. So for example, there's no longer 3 curses for fire, ice, and lightning. Instead, there's just a single curse that buffs all 3 at the same time.
Ooh, that's good.
And things like Frost Bomb, which gave you cold exposure, now give elemental exposure. You can use it to buff any of your other skills. We also wanted to make switching between different weapon sets smoother, so you can use different elemental staves more effectively. To do that, we've removed the weapon switch time, and now happens instantly. This applies game-wide too. Now, we didn't just want to stop there. We wanted to add some specific mechanics that work between different elements, and that's where elemental infusions come in. Certain skills can now drop elemental infusions. For example, when a frost bomb explodes, it leaves behind a cold infusion on the ground. After picking it up, you can spend it on one of any number of different skills to transform how they work.
Alright, boys, I'm back in. I'm playing POE 2
will create a nova of cold infused projectiles.
We're going back in. We're going back in.
Ice Nova will leave a chilled area on the ground.
I'm stoked. Nope, now you're going back in.
And we also added a new low-level skill that fires ice shards. Use it with cold infusion
Swaggy
though, and the ice shards will explode. Orb of Storms now generates lightning infusions when you cast enough spells near it. And that's all spells, by the way, not just lightning. Once you have one, you could cast a lightning flame wall, which adds both fire and lightning damage.
I'm coming up with a new build, bro. I'm going in. I'm doing a new build. I'm going in.
Power up Ember Fusillade with lightning, which will generate arcs to nearby enemies as each fireball hits.
Unless there's a druid, though, I'm still playing the...
Or maybe go lightning on lightning with arc. This skill is now projectile, and by infusing it, you can go full Palpatine.
I might play Sorceress. We might do Sorceress instead.
Get fire infusions by blowing up monsters with Living Bomb. Then use them with Comet to summon a giant fire meteor from the sky. Or use it with Firestorm, which transforms it from a small area into a much bigger one.
When it hit the ground.
Firestorm is unique in that it can be infused by multiple different elements at the same time. Add an ice infusion to rain down ice at the same time as the fire.
It's just something about top-downs like this. Yeah, I feel the same way. I don't like top-downs as much as I like third-person. But POE is a great game to play alongside. It's a lot of the Black Desert players also play Path of Exile. This is such a good game to play alongside BDO. You know, you go back, you play the new league, you try the new shit, and you come back to BDO, you wait, you try the new... Like, they rotate back and forth.
And just like how you could previously use it on Frostbolt, you can now also use it on Orb of Storms and Solar Orb to detonate those as well. Which means you can create many infusions
meant to play it
once.
like all the time. You can, but...
We also have a Spirit Reservation skill and a support gem to help generate them too.
Okay. Please show me the new class.
On the passive tree, we've added quite a few new keystones to the Sorceress section. Here are a couple of examples.
More shit.
The Black Flame Covenant keystone converts your fire spells to chaos and causes your ignites to deal chaos damage. Your fire spells and ignites will also turn purple.
Oh, I'm taking that every time. I'm taking that every time.
The Ritual Cadence keystone causes your invocation skills to trigger more times. It makes them trigger periodically over a longer duration instead of one.
I was fire and chaos damage. That's what I was running.
Now, in addition to skill changes, we've added a lot more options for the passive tree for each class. Overall, there are more than 100 new notables on the tree, usually around 20 per class, along with smaller clusters as well. Check out the old version.
Oh my...
And here's the new version. It's a lot more dense, and there's more interesting nodes than before.
Okay.
Now, we probably can't go through too many of these in the live stream, so I'll just show you one from each class's area of the tree. We tried to be a lot more thematic with the new nodes. So, for example, the Molten One's Gift. It lets the benefit of Armor Break apply to your fire damage.
The really nice thing about the POE tree is the things are shaped.
As your situation becomes more and more
like if it's a fire thing, it'll be shaped like an ember. And so you can tell what they are. So you can like the star thing.
The Gemling Legionnaire, for example. You have crystallized immunities, which makes you immune to different status ailments, depending on which support gem color you have socketed the most.
This is probably health regen, the heart over here.
Another Ascendancy class line notable is Sanguimatic Rituals. It allows arcane surges to generate life instead of mana, unlocking that support gem to be used with the Blood Mage Ascendancy. In the Sork area, you'll find these Archon nodes that allow you to convert all of your elemental damage to a specific element.
That right there.
You become a Lightning Archon when you spend enough mana, after which all your skills will be converted to lightning, and you will do extra lightning damage as well.
Path of Exile is where you go to scratch the itch that BDO won't give you about build diversity. That's why,
Elemental
again, people
Practitioner
like
gives
playing
crit
both
bonuses
games.
if you've triggered a
It
skill
scratches
recently,
the itch.
while also making crits generate more energy for triggers. Or maybe you'd like the Great Boar. It gives you a reason to stack dexterity to make you tougher, giving a bonus to life and stun threshold.
The fuck
Or
is
the
build
Cunning
diversity? I'm out.
Fox. It straight up gives you 5% quality to all your gems. Now, another major change is attribute requirements. We felt like players probably had a few too many nodes and attributes and not enough in interesting passives. So we lowered attribute requirements by 25% across the board.
Oh, that's
That
good.
means you'll have more points to spend on
Nice.
interesting notables rather than just needing to
Awesome.
allocate more strength, dex,
Thank
and int.
God, bro. That's so
Now,
good.
there are way more changes
Bro.
than just these. These are just some of the cooler ones we wanted to show off. But I'd say that's just about enough for now. We're not even half done yet. So I think it's time that we talk about the League, the rise of the
What about
Abyssal.
the class,
And to do
bro?
that, I'd like
Show
to
me the
hand
new
things over to
class.
Mark.
Is there a new class?
As you just saw,
They teased it
even
at the
though there are
start.
major changes to the campaign for this
Hi,
update,
Mark.
we want to make sure that every time you come back for an expansion, each area feels different with something extra going on. It is really important to make sure your experience when
not
returning
a new
between
class?
expansions is fresh
How?
and filled with new content. And the way we did this was through leagues.
Are they gonna get like 9 new
Every
classes
expansion
done
we
before they
make has a
launch the
league,
game? There's no
which
way.
not only has a fresh economy, but also has new content exclusively available in that league. So, let's delve
Yeah,
into
play
the
the new league every
details of
time.
what Path of Exile 2's first official league is bringing to the table. The Abyssal are a race that have mastery of forbidden magics and necromancy. They were thought to be extinct, but have merely been biding their time underground. You
Sucks.
first encounter signs of the Abyssal in Clairfell, where you discover that during the night, weaker members of the Undead Legion have been attacking the encampment. The townsfolk require your help to investigate where the monsters are coming from and put a stop to their attacks.
Out there, ancient creatures, lurking beneath the surface.
As you proceed through Rayclast, you'll find fissures in the earth connected to larger pits. The monsters normally inhabiting the area are being affected by it, harmed by it even, having their souls eaten to strengthen the Abyssal underground. As you defeat the monsters, the fissure closes and Abyssal emerge, angered by you killing their food. Once all those fissures have been sealed, the pit activates, and more Abyssal pour out. This is where the larger and more dangerous monsters reveal themselves, as hordes of Abyssal spew out from the pit to take your soul.
Ooh, that's hot. Are they female?
If you kill a magic pack, then magic Abyssal arise. If you kill a rare, then a rare monster will emerge from the pit, having absorbed some or all of its modifiers for itself. This means the monsters emerging will generally be more difficult and more rewarding, as each modifier gives better rewards. If you are able to kill them all, the pit will seal shut. As each pit is closed, it reveals a potential reward. Abyssal troves will rise up out of the pits, allowing you to get some epic loot. Areas often contain many pits, with many fissures, and the amount goes up as you progress through the game.
Guys, I wonder what
getting more
Elon Musk
intense.
is gonna play.
It doesn't stop there. When monster mods are absorbed, they have a chance to become infused with the dark necromancy, transforming them into abyssal modifiers. For example, you defeat this monster with the
Really?
mana
I mean, like,
siphoner modifier. Their
He's gotta
soul
pick
is eaten by
something
the
that
pit.
Rajesh can really get behind. You know what I mean? Gotta be something Rajesh can grind on for like 90 hours.
Transformed
You know what I'm
into
saying?
Soul Siphoner, and is now amplified in danger and reward.
My boy Tony. You know what I'm saying?
Abyssal pits also interact with other monsters and mechanics. If you defeat a rogue
I
exile
thought I
that's
saw
near one,
something at the
it'll be
start.
revived as a Lichborn that has multiple abyssal modifiers.
Okay. I thought I saw something at the start that made me think we were gonna get a
jewel they
druid.
can drop.
Maybe I'm
if
wrong.
you were lucky enough to encounter and kill them.
It looked like it was like a, you know, a forest
If an abyss
guy.
spawns near a boss, killing it will summon a gigantic giga larvae creature.
What the?
Monsters imprisoned in essences near abyssal pits are affected by the abyss too.
Oh my god, he
They will
just
come with
destroyed
an
that thing.
additional new essence item that can be used to craft your items.
Okay.
So, that's your bread and butter
Might
of
have
the
been related
abyssal
to the
league.
new act.
Kill
Yeah.
surface-dwelling monsters, kill the emerging
Been
abyssal,
debated.
close the fissures, overcome pit encounters, and reap the rewards. There's
I think-
a lot more to this league, however. As you complete abysses, you can find ancient pieces of bone,
I'll have to think about what I'm gonna
preserved
do,
from the
guys.
remains of fallen Lichborn. These are one of the many rewards for your mission to seal the pits. You can use this on a rare item to imbue it with Abyssal magic, adding a special hidden modifier to your item. But how do you reveal it? In Act 2 of the campaign, you'll encounter a new area. This area is overrun by the Abyssal and the Lost Men. After clearing through this area, you'll find the Well of Souls, a giant cavity with a massive vortex of souls swirling beneath you.
That reminds me of Hercules.
So
like
how do you reveal the
Hades?
mods on your
You guys
Abyssal-infused
think what I'm
items?
thinking?
Obviously, just throw them in, right? Yes, that's exactly what you do. Before throwing it in, you are given the option of how you want to transform it, in the form of a choice of 3 different modifiers. Once you've chosen your desired mod, throw it in, where it will absorb the power of the souls, and the ominous creature will then retrieve it for you. These modifiers can be ones from the core mod pool, all the way through to specialized modifiers that cannot normally appear on items. During the campaign, you can use it as a way to more easily add useful
jeez.
existing mods.
Good.
But during the endgame, there is a whole set of new and powerful mods you can add to your items. Like this mod for crossbows, that allows you to place an additional ballista totem.
What the?
Or this one that adds spirit to your staff.
67 spirit?
Or this one that allows you to generate more combo with your quarterstaff skills.
Yeah,
And speaking of endgame, you can also use the system to craft waystones. With a preserved vertebrae fused into your waystones, you can get some new modifiers that push difficulty and rewards to new heights. Here are some examples of those mods. You always get a choice of 3, so
What
you can
the?
avoid anything you don't think your character is capable of.
Interesting.
With this modifier, the natural inhabitants of the area are all spawned near abysses. And there are up to 9 additional abyssal pits in the area, making it just a full-on abyss ruckus. Or this one, which causes the final abyssal pit in the area to always result in a boss encounter, be it either one underground or one that emerges out. There are dozens of these waystone modifiers in total you can get from this crafting. That covers the new crafting mechanic. So what's left? Well, we talked about how when closing pits you can get abyssal troves, but sometimes when closing an abyss, you'll reveal an underground cavern that leads to the abyssal depths. After jumping into the depths, you'll find an abyssal city, swarming with legions of the undead. When underground, every single rare abyssal enemy will have an abyssal modifier.
Oh boy.
And at the end of the dungeon, you'll even find a rare with a more powerful Lichborn modifier.
What up, Ravens?
Once you're able to defeat this powerful rare, you can also find some nice rewards. Aside from the entire
Lots
area
of
being
gold and
valuable
garbage. Look
due
at
to
that,
the
guys,
abyssal
garbage.
modifiers on the monsters, it has its own specific drops too.
Wait, that's
One
a lot.
example is a set of lineage supports that can rarely be found in these depths, like
Okay.
Kurgel's Leash. This support empowers both you and your minions when you command them, granting unholy might to you both.
What the?
Another depth-specific outcome is a set of omen-like items that amplify your abyssal crafting. Additionally, we're adding some new socketables that can drop from the abyssal depths. Take Ulaman's Gaze, which can be socketed into your armor.
Okay, against buried enemies.
These are a bit special in that you can only have one equipped at a time, but give some pretty powerful effects.
I don't know what lucky is. I don't know what
Think
lucky
of them
means.
as almost a unique socketable for your equipment.
Oh, good. Another
In the
thing.
endgame, where you can still find depths, you also start to find a different type of underground chamber. In these areas, you'll find an ancient spire, a device being used
Oh
by
my-
commanders of the abyssal factions to plunge Rayclast into a lightless void. Your goal is simple. Kill this commander and destroy the spire.
He doesn't do any damage to that guy. Monk sucks.
There are 4 bosses in the Abyss League, and there are some pretty cool uniques available from them. An example is this belt, Darkness Enthroned. It has 2 sockets. But hold on, socketables don't work on belts. Well, this belt has a special mod that allows it to count as a different slot for the purpose of socketables. This one, for example,
So
counts
that's
as
the
a
best
helmet.
belt in the game, by
I
far.
kind of want one that counts as
Obviously.
a body armor. I wonder how rare
Obviously
that
the best
one
belt
is.
in the game.
You can also find this unique jewel, Undying Hate. This jewel transforms part of your passive skill tree into an abyssal version and has multiple depths.
What?
The deeper it goes, the more of your passive tree is affected, allowing you to fulfill your fantasy of becoming part Abyssal Lich.
What the fuck?
Now, the last thing that Abyssal commanders can drop is a Finger of the Lich. But what use do you have with a random
Guys,
undead
Liches
finger?
can finger you in
Well,
the new expansion.
the next time you return to the Well of Souls, with the finger in your inventory, your character will almost feel compelled. To
Yeah.
do what, though, you might ask? To jump in. The items you threw in came back more powerful, right? So, what's the worst that could happen? Well, you will just have to find that one
You're
out
gonna
for yourself.
turn into old. You're gonna become old.
Along with the introduction of Act
Okay,
4
this is important.
and the interlude,
The end
we
game
will be
drove me
adding
away.
25 new in-game maps.
Okay.
These maps will contain all the new monsters and bosses we're adding, improving variety and giving you opportunities to experience the new
Cool.
boss fights many times. Let's take a look at some examples. Rock Pools is a map where you explore a shallow rocky coastline, surrounded by coral and filled with sirens. At the end is a giant Goblin King boss, ready to eat sulfite and squish you like a bug.
God, it's
Holton
disgusting.
is an Ezomite township which has seen better days. Explore and clear the township to find a
That's an
gothic,
awesome
Reaper-like
looking boss.
with the ability to manipulate storms and fry you with both lightning and wither you with
That is
chaos.
such a sick looking boss. I want to hold two like Reaper
Given some of
swords
the
like
new
that.
bosses added are a bit more epic, such as the Act boss and final bosses of each interlude part, it would be a bit of a waste to just use them as regular map bosses. Instead, we'll be adding some new mechanics to the Atlas that use them. These start appearing pretty fast into the endgame and will help bridge the gap until you do your pinnacle bosses. In the desert biome, you can encounter a wild sandstorm. 3 maps around the sandstorm contain a device you must activate. Upon doing this, the sandstorm's magic is disrupted, revealing the map inside and allowing you to access it and find the cause. This presents itself in the form of a boss, similar to the existing Citadel bosses. This boss is a Faradin Swordmaster, who has been blessed with the power of a time gem, allowing him to take his swordsmanship to the next level by replicating himself, maneuvering rapidly, and severing the fabric of time itself with his powerful slashes.
Oh my god.
In the water biome, you'll encounter a giant maelstrom, where one of the maps surrounding the water biome connects to it, but the connection is obscured. You must run the maps nearby, hoping to find a beacon, which will remove the maelstrom and reveal the connection to that map. Another example is this Vaal vault in the mountain biome. But how do we get inside?
Put 'em up.
Running the adjacent maps to
Bosses
it will
look
yield
amazing.
a key,
They always look really
which
good.
you can
I
then
expect
use to
that out of
gain
POE.
access to this vault. Or you could just trade for one, I guess. Use the key to dispel the powerful force field surrounding it, leading to the Vaal Elite and their rewards inside. These all contain Uber versions of the Act 4 boss and the bosses at the end of each part of the interlude. And each
What
have their
the-
own exclusive drop pool of new lineage supports, which, as Jonathan spoke about earlier, are powerful support gems that modify your skills in pretty crazy ways. As an example of a lineage support which can come from the Faradin Swordmaster mentioned earlier, we have Garukan's Resolve, which causes your critical strikes to fork, but requires some mobility on your part to properly enable. From the boss sealed in the Vaal Vault, we have Paquate's Pact, which supports your war cries, causing them to inflict massive amounts of corrupted blood at the cost of your own life. Additionally, some maps can now spawn summoning circles, a room resembling an Ezomite henge. Activating this henge will spawn bosses. It's as simple as that. We'll also be making changes to how affixes and waystones work, as the current prefixes equals good, suffixes equals bad iteration isn't quite hitting the mark. We tried something new here in Path of Exile 2, but after seeing the feedback, we decided we actually liked what we had in Path of Exile 1 more. Like Path of Exile 1, Each affix will now be both difficult and rewarding. Waystone mods now grant an increase to the number of waystones dropped, and an additional specific upside attached to it. This means as you roll your map, they will continue to get more difficult and more rewarding, and allow you to customize the difficulty and rewards of your maps better. For example, the Frostbitten mod, which causes enemies to deal cold damage, also increases the rarity of items dropped as its upside.
Okay.
Whereas the Of Venom suffix modifier, which causes enemies to poison on
my
hit,
monk? They already
is the
covered
upside
monk.
of
You missed
granting
it.
increased pack size. Some maps will end up having a lot of rarity, some a lot
Big
of pack
buffs for monk.
size,
You can fight
and
without a weapon
others
now.
will just have a mixture of everything.
I'm not
Due
playing
to now
hardcore.
having more modifiers granting difficulty, we will of course be reducing the difficulty per modifier to account for this. So, that's your Atlas, maps, and waystones. But what about Breach, Ritual, Pinnacle content, and others of the sort? We're making some changes around this too. The first change is that you'll now be able to invest 2 points into your specific League Atlas trees before having to run the Pinnacle content. There will be a specific objective for each type of content which grants you those points. For example, in the case of
Oh my
Delirium,
God,
it's
that
simple.
damage! What
You
the?
just need to find and kill one of the bosses in a map, Omniphobia or Kosis. The rest of the points for each content come from the Pinnacle content, but we're making some changes to accessibility here too. Currently, access to most Pinnacle content requires the same key at the easiest and most difficult version of the content. This creates a negative feeling where at lower difficulties, instead of wanting to run the content, you're often better off just selling it to someone who can run it at maximum difficulty. To address this, each content will now drop splinters, which will not form into singular items. Instead of using the singular combined item in the realm gate, you can now just bring your splinters. Upon inserting the splinters into the realm gate, an interface will appear, allowing you to pick your difficulty, and you'll notice each difficulty has a different entry cost. This means if you want to run easier difficulties, it costs less, which also allows you to run this content much sooner into the endgame. Because these encounters now just require splinters, their corresponding Atlas tree no longer affects the difficulty of them, and has been changed to purely affect the content and maps on the Atlas.
Okay.
The Arbiter of Ash works a bit differently. Instead of requiring splinters, he still needs crisis fragments. We now have only
They
two
really like
difficulties
the
of the Arbiter.
crossbow.
The first, requiring the existing fragments obtained from citadels. The second, Uber Arbiter, requires calamity fragments. These come from citadel bosses also, but only once you've allocated the maximum number of points in your boss Atlas tree, ensuring those citadels are at their highest difficulty level. Since we're talking about Pinnacle content, we also felt that the leveling curve in the late game was a bit too steep.
Yeah.
We've smoothed this out a bit so that it's easier to get to the mid-90s. We've also added some new
mid-90s.
in-game unique items. Let's take a look at a couple.
I think I got to like 70 or something
Thunderfist
last
is a
time.
pair of gloves that grants Crackling Palm, a skill which empowers your unarmed attacks, granting the ability to call down the storms themselves on enemies you hit. Put simply, literally every monster you hit with your unarmed skills will be struck by powerful lightning. Pair this with the aforementioned Hollow Palm technique to embrace your true unarmed prowess in combat. Another unique we're adding is Henekura's Sight.
Yo, looking
Equip
emo.
this amulet to be granted the power of the Mother of Death herself. This is reflected by granting you a skill called Foresight. While you have Foresight, your dodge roll no longer avoids hits. But instead, being hit while dodge rolling restores you to full life and makes you unable to die for a brief period of time.
What?
You'll notice when this does occur, a copy of your character appears and takes the full damage. This is you seeing that future, as if you hadn't been
What?
wearing the amulet. Ultimately, your in-game experience should be more streamlined. With new content to find, you'll be able to invest in your Atlas trees sooner, engage with Pinnacle content faster, have less FOMO running said Pinnacle content, reach higher levels easier.
How do these guys
and do
have better
all of
audio
that while finding
than
many
BDO
new
does
chase
with a
in-game
microphone
items.
like that?
Talking
What are we
about finding
talking about?
items is one thing, but what about crafting them? We've taken a step back and looked at some of our crafting systems to make some notable improvements. Let's start with essences. which suffered from an issue
I
where the
just
regular
trade for
essences
everything,
were
I'll be honest.
effectively useless and didn't give players
The
the
game's
tools
got too much
or
RNG to
excitement
craft
that a
everything
crafting
yourself.
system should provide. To alleviate
I
these
learned the hard way.
concerns, essences are being changed in a few ways. Firstly, they're being changed to function like regals and add specific modifiers with specific values, meaning you know exactly what you're going to get. We found that players were often bottlenecked by regal orbs when crafting in the campaign, so this helps to fill that gap,
Watch that
allowing you
later.
to better upgrade your items. For example,
Look at
this
this
lesser essence of flames,
www.
which will be able to add a flat amount of fire damage to your magic martial weapons.
I have 113,000
Secondly, we're adding many more
viewers.
tiers. That lesser essence of flames, for example, has a regular variant and a greater variant too, adding even more fire damage with each upgrade. The intention of this is so that when you find one early on, you don't worry about holding on to it till later to use on a higher level item. You should feel free to use them as they come to get powerful upgrades during
Good.
the campaign. Lastly, our highest tier of essences, now called Perfect Essences, will function like a Chaos Orb instead of a Regal. So it will replace one of the modifiers on your rare items with the specified mod.
Oh my
Such
god.
as this Perfect Essence of Flames. You'll notice this one doesn't just add flat fire damage like the ones before it. The Perfect Essences often give something a bit different, with some opportunities to be pretty damn powerful. There are many different essences, each with many tiers, covering many of the more core modifiers you'd want on items early on, through to chase specialized ones for in-game.
They didn't even pick
Speaking
them up.
of in-game, we really wanted to expand our crafting options for late in-game crafting projects. You might have noticed that at in-game, you get way too many transmutes. Wouldn't it be nice if some of those didn't drop, but instead you got something a little more powerful?
Pause.
At higher levels, you can now find Greater Orb of Transmutation and Perfect Orb of Transmutation. These can be used on normal items to upgrade them to magic, ensuring that the modifier generated is of a minimum level.
Oh shit.
This is similar to how you find higher tier items on the ground,
That's
but
smart.
for crafting.
That's good. Good change.
These higher tiers will also exist for
Because
Orb
those
of
are basically
Augmentation,
fucking useless.
Regal Orb, Exalted Orb,
Oh, nice.
and Chaos Orb, meaning you can get all of the orbs required to take your item from normal rarity to a fully completed rare with guaranteed high tier mods. On top of these new core crafting currencies, we wanted to make sure there are powerful crafting bases to use them on. Now in endgame, you can start to find exceptional items. These are items that drop at normal rarity and are perfect for your from-scratch crafting projects.
Oh
They
boy.
can come with extra quality, up to 30%, or an additional socket to
The
use your
fact that
crafting
it's not
socket
gold
in.
is going to be really hard to
And
identify
yes,
it though.
They can
I'm just
be
going to go
corrupted
straight
for
by
yet
it.
another socket. You can also get exceptional unique items.
Oh boy.
To add even further to your crafting arsenal, we've added a whole suite of new omens to ritual content, and removed some of the more unimpactful ones that weren't being used.
The hell's never sync?
Some of the new omens include the Omen of the Ancients,
You
which will
spend too
cause
much
your
money
next
on
orb
makeup.
of chance to
True.
not destroy the item, but generate a random unique of the same class. Or the Omen of Sanctification, which is my new favorite. This will cause your next divine orb used on a rare item to re-roll the values of its modifiers, allowing it to exceed the normal minimum and maximum values, raising the ceiling on the new most powerful rare items in the game. This omen will also cause your item to become sanctified. Sanctified items cannot be crafted, just like corrupted ones, so consider carefully when you use this. Another is the Omen of Chaotic Monsters,
I will
which will
use it
cause
to
your next
trade for
Chaos
the
Orb
best
to
item in the
reroll
game.
all
That's what I will
modifiers
do.
on a Waystone, allowing you to fix your maps if you get some modifiers that are not feasible for your build. Besides these examples, there is a huge variety of new omens for you to discover in your ritual encounters. With the release of Act 4, notably taking place in the Karori Archipelago, you'll be able to now find a new currency item, Henikora's Lock. Henikora, the Karori goddess of death, has the
She's
power
thick.
of foresight
She's
and
thick.
is able
I
to
would.
see many futures, including the outcome of your next craft. So, imbuing her lock onto an item gives you that same power too.
Nice.
For example, You'll know whether or not to use an Exalted Orb on your item, as you will know exactly what the outcome is. So, with all these new crafting improvements, it's safe to say you're going to be making some epic items, and not necessarily just ones for yourself. So given that, it's time to talk about a massive one.
Okay.
Trade.
Big.
It's finally here. The moment
The
we've all been
technology
waiting for.
is here, boys.
Fully asynchronous trade.
Thank God,
Over
bro.
the years, the way players trade
Look at
with each
that.
other in Path of
Look at
Exile
that.
1 has
LP
morphed from using
underscore
the
dispenser
forums
just
through to the
resubscribed for
in-game
18
chat,
months. Thanks for the
all the way
content.
through to using
Can't
the
wait
website.
till the patch notes
These
tonight.
systems, in all their
Thanks,
iterations,
LP.
worked
Appreciate
for a
you.
while.
18 months,
But
one
with
and a half
each
years, buddy.
iteration, new problems eventually reveal themselves.
Ah, this
Be
game is
it
fun.
requiring you to be in your hideout too much instead of out there killing monsters, or never getting responses from people who are either AFK or just can't be bothered.
Me, that is the story of my
In
life.
order to finally solve this, and this has been a long time coming, we're adding a new system that allows you to buy items from other players without requiring the seller to be present. They can continue farming, killing monsters, AFK as they please, and can even be offline. With the introduction of King's March in Act 4, you will encounter Ange, assistant to Rog in the Meridian Free Traders
So
Company.
good, bro.
Over the last 2 decades or so, since Path of Exile 1's storyline, Faustus has handed down his knowledge and expertise to Ange, and she is now ready to take over his business. If you have a hideout unlocked already, you can immediately invite her there. If you don't have a hideout yet, you will need to acquire one. You can do this by completing a quest to defeat one of the bosses inhabiting an island in Act 4.
Okay.
Allowing you then to take a slice of it for yourself, making it your new home and base of operations.
So we still have to do the first 3 acts to get
Once
to Act
invited
4,
to your
right?
hideout, she will now serve as operating your currency exchange, but also serve as the figurehead in your new trading empire. So, how does this new system work?
Yeah, that's
In
what I
the
figured.
existing trade system, you would list items for sale in premium stash tabs.
Yep.
And then when someone wanted one, you'd have to take it out for yourself and trade it to them. Now, instead of using those, you can give your items to Ange so she can sell them for you. Each item
Oh
must
my
have a price
God.
set. The prices are set using in-game currency items, such as Exalted Orbs or Chaos Orbs.
Holy shit.
Once a
20
price is set,
Chaos Orbs?
other players will be able to find
What
the item
the
by searching
fuck?
for it on the trade website.
20 Chaos
Once a
Orbs?
desired item has been found, you can hit a button, which will instantly teleport your character in-game to their hideout. Then, you can immediately purchase the item. And while there, if you want, browse their other goods, in case there's a good deal someone else hasn't yet discovered. You'll notice that as a buyer, on top of the currency the seller set for the price, it also costs gold to purchase an item, as Ange has bills to pay after all. As a seller, you'll immediately receive a notification when an item of yours is sold, and can also see an effect above Ange in your hideout when she has unclaimed currency.
Huh.
Just go talk to her, claim your currency, and continue playing at your leisure.
Big.
As
Big
many
change.
people already
The
acquired
technology's-
premium stash tabs for the purpose of the trade system,
Yeah.
we wanted to add a way for you to convert your existing tabs to merchants tabs, if you want. You can do that here, on the website, but only if you purchase those tabs before the release of the 3rd edict.
Yeah,
To
that's
clarify,
me.
the existing trade system will remain fully intact, so your premium stash tabs will not lose any of their functionality. We just figured people might want to switch over to this new system. We expect a lot of feedback around this new system and are looking forward to trying it out with you. As we are not able to test internally
Trying
with
it
an
out with you.
entire thriving economy, there will certainly be some kinks to work out. Based on how the system goes, we will be adding it to Path of Exile 1 when ready, so any of the tabs you purchase will also be
Oh.
usable there later.
POE 1 getting it too?
Next up, we're going to be talking about our new supporter packs. Today, we're launching 2 new series of supporter
Oh
packs.
god, I already bought the $500
Justice
one.
and Trathan Executioner packs.
I already bought the $500 one.
Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points,
Wait, those look like
alongside
shit.
several exclusive microtransactions. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your
My
character's
outfits look
power
way better.
or progression in any way. The Justice series of supporter packs
Wait.
contains 6 exclusive microtransactions.
Wait, the flag thing. Is that the
Claim
portal?
glory after
That looks
defeating
sick.
enemies, or inspire your allies by calling down the Banner of Justice portal.
Okay, that
The
looks
Sphinx
sick.
Mystic hideout decoration will identify items for you, displaying them as it does so.
Oh,
This ancient creature has been presented with many items over the eons, so has some strong expressions to make on the quality of your wares.
interesting.
Become a true warrior, worthy of delivering the justice of the eternal gods with the Apostle of Justice armor set. This armor set also comes with a matching back attachment
Oh, look,
containing a
it's got
set
a-
of scales to
It's
measure
a
your
scale.
worth. With the Apostle of Justice finisher effect equipped, the Goddess of
Yeah, that
Justice
outfit's
herself
better
will
than I
appear
thought.
to decide on a verdict for slain unique enemies.
Wait!
Witness as she decides the fate of your slain foes. Will they
get a mommy?
ascend to be amongst the gods or be banished to the underworld?
That's
The
sick.
Griffin fledgling pet will be
Uh-oh.
your courageous companion as you
How much is
journey throughout
900 points?
Rayquest.
How much is that? How many dollars is that? USD.
Take your place in the skies in the Plateau of the Gods hideout. This hideout comes with
That's
many
sick, too.
different sections for setting up
90?
your home or base of operations.
That looks sick.
In order to travel between
this
them,
hideout looks
you
cool.
simply just need to walk off the
What
edge.
the fuck?
Like a true eternal god, you can float between the mountains on the clouds themselves. The Trathan Executioner pack series also contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. The Trathan Executioner finisher effect is a brutal display of Trathan might,
Yo!
crushing slain unique enemies as if they were bugs beneath your heel.
That's sick, bro!
As a Trathan Executioner, you're the perfect master for the ever-hungry carrion raptor pet. It has taken a particular liking to the taste of other
What about
pets, and at your command it will swoop down and eviscerate them, proceeding to satisfy its hunger by feeding on their corpse. The nobles of the 4 major Trathan houses had their mercenaries, but if their hired hands became notably irritating, they'd have to call in the Trathan Executioners. You can now embrace their methods and become brutality incarnate
I don't
with
like
the
that.
cruel
that skin
Trathan
very much.
Executioner armor
It's okay,
set.
but
The matching cruel Trathan Executioner cloak
Never
will
mind.
shroud you in
That's
scarlet
sick.
as you
Never
crush
mind,
the
the cloak
skulls
is
of your
sick.
enemies and leave a trail of blood behind you
What
as
the
you build
fuck?
up a kill streak.
never mind. We're
Or
back in.
use the alternate variant to simply put a skeleton on your back.
Bro, no,
Be
you do the cloak
bathed in
every time.
blood as you mutilate monsters with the cruel Trathan Executioner character effect. The swirling blood increases in volume as your spree of slaughter continues. Both this effect and the cloak use the same kill streak for tracking how much blood is shown. After a long and tiring day of executions, enjoy a relaxing game of dice with the Goblin Gambler's Hideout decoration.
What the
They'll
fuck?
definitely be playing fair, right? The
What
Pulverizer
the
map
fuck?
device brings a horrid
More
efficiency
gamma.
to punishing the damned of Trathus. Each map you open will execute the next victims. This map device in its true ruthlessness tracks the total number of monsters killed, your kills per second, and your largest kill streak up to the point of the map being completed.
Oh, that's sick.
This is then displayed on a leaderboard so you can take a measure of you and your
Oh,
friends'
there's a
violence at the end of each map.
leaderboard.
Additionally, any microtransactions from the supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 1. That's enough about cosmetics. Let's get into the Q&A. But firstly, I want to give a huge
We getting
thank
paid
you
by
for your
POE? We
ongoing
are.
support. We're just about to start the Q&A with Ziggy D. Afterwards, at 11
My
a.m.
boy
NZ time,
Ziggy D?
or 4 p.m. Pacific, we'll post Path of Exile 2, the third Edict's
No,
patch
this is
notes.
too, Tar.
With the release at the end of next week, our community team will be posting crucial information you need for the release. Keep an eye on the news. Thanks for joining us today and checking out our latest developments. We're looking forward to seeing your experiences with Act 4 and its new bosses, fighting the Abyssal, trying
Bro.
new builds, and crafting new items. We'll begin the Q&A shortly, so please get your questions ready.
Honestly, my question is, why in the is Druid? That's what my question is. God damn it, bro. What? Like, when are they gonna come out with all these extra classes? Like, where's the Assassin? Where's Druid? There's got to be like 5 classes at least that they have not released yet.
Hello, and welcome back, Exiles.
Oh,
After
God.
a absolutely monumental reveal.
Oh
We now
no,
have
their
a
audio
super
sucks
juicy
too,
Q&A
bro.
session for you. Probably like 2 hours or something, so grab a
Oh
cuppa,
no.
grab a snack and settle in. I'm joined once again by Jonathan and Mark to discuss
Bro, what?
a
VDO?
lot. The patch that had to fix all the things, right?
That was the goal. I mean, we didn't quite get to literally everything, but we
It's
certainly,
echoing out of
we
its
certainly
mind.
managed to do a lot of things that we were very keen to do.
Yeah, you guys were telling me that this was uniquely nerve-wracking for
It's
you.
echoing out of
because
its mind.
It's
It's
I guess it
PA
felt like there was a lot
quality.
of pressure on this one to fix everything.
Absolutely. I mean, look, we've obviously got a lot to prove. You know, we need to make sure that we're like that. Well, put it this way: I wouldn't want people to feel like we that we don't have answers to a lot of the things that people have been unhappy about. So, you know, like, yeah, we really tried to do as much as we could in one go to kind of do everything. As I said, didn't get to literally everything, but we got to quite a lot of it, and I'm thinking that people will be a lot happier with this release than they were with the last one.
Yeah, I was pretty shocked to see how much was in this one, especially given that you've moved to this kind of like 4 and 2 cycle of, you know, you just feels like you just released the Path of Exile 1 expansion, which also had a lot of pressure on it to
Yep.
be a big one as well.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, it's certainly hard. I mean, look, the really hard part is, you know, having to make an act at the same time. Like that's a really huge commitment. So I'm certainly going to be happy once we finish the campaign because we're going to be back to normalcy again. But yeah, it's a like, you know, what it does do is it mean that there's like a huge amount of content to draw from. There's obviously a huge amount for players who, you know, are not necessarily the
Save!
in-game players as well, because you've got all of the, you know, the new campaign stuff. So it's like a pretty big deal for all that stuff. But it also meant we could take a bunch of that stuff and move it into the endgame too. So the endgame kind of sees a big expansion as well. So yeah, it's been quite a good one.
Yeah, I remember early on we had the process. Actually, we just literally grabbed my whiteboard in my office and we just wrote down every single problem.
Yeah.
And I'd say it's not a strategy we've
POE
done to this
high, yes,
degree,
POE
this
too.
methodically before.
Right,
where
right.
we were like, okay, we have to solve everything on this whiteboard.
Yep. Literally
And-
made a tier list up there. Like, this
we
is
had a
T1,
tier
this
list.
is T2.
We had
like,
actually fully of every problem, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know there were things in there like, you know, performance and things that aren't
Yeah.
necessarily the actual, you know, game
How is the
content.
BDO
the very,
dev team
the
would
very
do
one
that,
at the top of the
bro?
list was, you know, campaign is a slog, right? Like that was the one that we were like, you know, we've got to solve that. So you know, things like that were just like we were, because we're really trying to be honest about like, here are the real issues.
And the reason it ends up being a bit nerve-wracking is because we had a goal to fix all of it. And we didn't get to fix. We aren't fixing literally everything. We're fixing almost, well, a lot. You know, and I'm sure a few new problems introduced here and there. However,
obviously, you know, as we're watching Twitch chat, there was a huge amount of stuff about towers. You know, we had a plan; it was on the list. It just unfortunately we couldn't get time to sort it. So yeah, that's one of the. It's probably the notable one, I would say.
Yeah, so we'll kind of discuss
Yeah,
around
Scared,
your vision
since you
and
call
stuff
people on
endgame
Discord at
soon as well,
nighttime.
so that you can say
What?
give people some reassurance about like where you want to go with that.
I've
But we should
never
also
called
mention
you on
just
Discord
the
at nighttime.
elephant in the room, or the
Ever.
lack of the elephant in the room with the druid.
Yes.
No elephant form, but the joke kind of works.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So it seemed that druid has been uniquely challenging to get shipped. It's been something you've been working on for a while.
Oh, you mean
now.
Enclave?
Just getting it right. What has been the challenge with druid and getting
I
it out?
told you.
Well, I mean, okay, so we started believing that we were going to have Druid in this version.
Yeah.
And that was the case for at least 2 months of the 4 months of development that we were that we had here. And obviously, like a bunch of work had gone on before that as well. But at some point, we realized, like, you know, that we don't want to have the mistake that we effectively had with 020, where like we put a huge amount of effort into the class and then we didn't get time to fix like all of the concerns that people had outside of that, right? Because obviously the same resources go into making a new class as go into balancing the old ones and making all that stuff, right? So if we don't have the balance in like a good place, it kind of feels a bit bad to like be throwing in a class that's
Hire
effectively
more
disrupting
people.
that. So then what that meant was at some point we're like, okay, since we don't believe we can get both the class and all these other balance changes we want to make in at the same time, it's actually better to cut the class and then have the you know the balance changes instead. So that's what we ended up doing, and obviously it was like a really hard thing to cut because obviously like you're going to have another one without a class, like it feels really terrible.
Yeah,
but
I get it.
you know, we've
Does
got the philosophy
feel
now
pretty
of like we have
bad.
to
That's
make
the
sure that we're in
class
the
I've been
release month that we say we're
waiting
going to be in. So therefore something had to go, and unfortunately that was it. But it means we've obviously got a huge head start for you know, when we actually do it next time. And I mean,
Hiring
look, there
more
was so
people
much
means more
stuff that
people
was
make
cut, like, even
mistakes
as
and
large
change the
as it
original
is,
dev
like,
team
you know,
is
there's
what,
like
though?
ascendancies
Yeah,
and all
but
sorts of
then
stuff
you're
that was
just
going to
managing
be
what
there,
other
and,
people are
you know,
doing. It's
get to
way
it.
better. It's
But
way
yeah,
faster.
more important to just make sure that people are happy with the stuff that's in,
Also, just
and
hire
make
good
sure
people.
all those changes are great, and you know, make sure, yeah, obviously you've got answers for stuff, right?
I imagine for druid, it's it's a big part of it's just the fact that the shapeshifting, getting it looking and feeling.
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
is
no, I mean
probably
it's
really,
a huge
really
deal. It's
challenging, right?
it's hard. Like there's so much animation stuff that has to go into making each form feel right. So yeah, like that. But we'll get there. Like I don't think we're that far away from it now. So you know. It's just a question of,
So the next one for
prioritization.
sure,
That
guys.
seems like is
For
probably
sure,
the highest
next
class
time.
of all. Then
Might be, yeah,
I think it will be.
yeah.
you're getting a bit more ambitious as you go with
They
it.
can't
Yeah,
hire
so-
outside
which
New
is-
Zealand
Every
unless they
class
go
is
through
a
lots of
step
legal
up from
hoops.
last in terms of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
so I guess on that note,
not
do
the
you
end of
have
the
a vision
world,
for
it's-
who's next after Druid, or is it kind of a race between them to see who ends up? feeling most
Well, I've
finished?
always said that it would be criminal to go into full release without having swords. So you know that's
Oh
that's
my
It's a
God!
little bit criminal to get this far without
Assassin,
it.
bro.
to be honest, it is. Yeah. So I'd say
It
that
is
would be
weird when you think about
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
real
so-
weird.
It is real weird.
So that would be an obvious candidate. Is making sure that we've got
So
that. going on.
that people
Hire
can infer
Wansu?
from
Do you
that
want him to go in
the
reverse?
Duelist or something?
Is that what you want?
Most likely being
Yeah.
the sword one. Yeah, and as you said, the ascendancies are just kind of the same boat.
They hire
You weren't
Wansu.
satisfied
Okay,
with
guys.
where they're at to be
We've
able to get those in.
removed
So
the
that's things you
entire
missed,
skill
but that's
tree.
like the list of
Now,
the things you
instead
missed.
of having
Adam,
build diversity,
and, doing something with
you will
towns.
all
Yeah,
build
now we
the
can
exact
talk about
same
kinda
items
what you have
on
done. We'll jump
every
into
class
Endgame
in the
first,
game.
since I know people.
We
the
feel that
towers
this will
and
make
stuff have
it
been a hot topic
easier
for
for
people,
new
so
players to enjoy the game.
We'll talk about the endgame. This wasn't ostensibly supposed to be an endgame update, from what you were telling me, but it still seems like a pretty big endgame update in the end.
Yeah, I mean, well, part of that is because we obviously get all the content that we produced for the campaign. We get to make all the endgame versions of that.
Yeah.
That obviously adds quite a lot. But we did want to make sure that we weren't just being like, okay, so we're adding a bunch of bosses. Like, we wanted to make sure that the more epic ones that we added to the campaign have some new mechanic for them on the Atlas as well. So that's where we had those various mechanics with, you know, like the sandstorm and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you know, those kind of like Atlas events. And it really does contribute to the feeling of exploration to have more of that stuff. And then, of course, you know, once you got that, you can just start getting into, okay, well, what rewards is it going to drop? You know, then we started to think we need a new category of rewards that these things can have. And that's, you know, we started to think about the lineage supports and that kind of stuff. So it just ended up kind of adding up to quite a bit in the end. But yeah, it isn't like kind of like the big end game change that we wanted to do. Like, we had a design for that, but we just kind of haven't quite got to it. So, but it still ends up being quite a lot. And one of the big things that it also, I think, will help bridge is the kind of mid-end game part. You know, like that's still a problem that we want to improve. But yeah, like it adds quite a lot there because, you know, you're seeing that stuff on the Atlas a bit earlier.
What's the problem there as you identify it?
I mean, you've got this issue where effectively, and we are doing some stuff to address this, but effectively you've got like the pinnacles at the end, and you've got like, obviously when you start, you've got a bunch of content, but it doesn't feel like there's those kind of mid-end game goals that you can easily achieve. That's kind of the issue that we're
And
trying to
just a
solve.
lack of direction, right?
Right.
I think
Right.
there's not enough like really guiding you. Like the narrative kind of falls apart there, right? Because it's just like open world, and you want a bit more of you know telling you where to go, what to do, have those goals where you're like I want to do this next and this next, as opposed to like I could do this or this or this. It's nice to have those, but it's nice to also have the things kind of directing you as to like this is exactly what I want to do. The boss I want to get to. There's kind of just a big.
Do you guys want to go back to playing BDO?
We have a huge plan.
Or do you guys want me to listen to the Q&A?
Yeah, we need to. You got this. Working on a campaign, you've got working on the end game, and you got all these. Like, how do you juggle?
Go back to video. Yeah, the big stuff's done.
Brutally
Yeah, big stuff's
difficult,
done.
and you end up having a thing. So
Alright.
I would expect, you know, next expansion to be way more.
W live stream, bro. I'm definitely gonna play POE again. I'm gonna play POE too. I might end up playing it on my alt channel, and then I'll stream it to Kick and YouTube, obviously, as well. Still no swords, yeah. Was really hoping for Druid, not gonna lie. Was really, really hoping for Druid. Not gonna lie. Kind of disappointed no Druid, but also it's got me back in enough that I'll go through the main story at least on the Witch. We'll try a new build.